Hi, I'm Reverend Paula Skiles with Unity Church of San Marcos, and thank you for being with us this morning as we celebrate this wonderful day. We have a special guest speaker today, Reverend Sondra Van Gyllenband, and India Taylor, who is our musician. And we offer you a special service with a ritual called a white stone ceremony at the end. So we hope that this is something that is spiritually fulfilling for you, and we welcome everyone to be a part of it. So turn this over to Reverend Sondra. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you for having me back. It's always most wonderful being here with y'all. You are a part of my heart. You're in my heart space, so coming in here just perks me up and feels pretty doggone good. So I think that when you do this book, I'll have to be here because about probably a month ago, I fell flat on my face into the concrete. And so hearing that title, it was like, yes, what did I learn? I learned that squishy hoses that come back together, if one gets caught on a chair, the part that's not there will pop up. And if you're stepping over it, it's much higher than you thought. Anyway, that's just a little aside. So this morning, I want to talk about some pieces of life that is a ritual. And sometimes we have different feelings about rituals, but what I know about a ritual is that it can be very comforting, that it can be very remindful of who we are and where we've come from and how we've done it. So I invite you to just kind of open up around that. And I'm going to share with you from Rumi, a very ancient poet. And he says, "You were born with potential. You were born with potential and goodness and trust. You were born with ideals and dreams. You were born with greatness. You were born with wings. You were not meant for crawling, so don't. You have wings." We all have wings, and yet sometimes we forget. So I want to invite you to share with me just a quick moment of something that happened with you this week that feels really good. Something that you're celebrating. Something that you know in your heart of hearts has been a good thing. Anybody? Susan?
It was nothing in particular, but I just felt loved this week, so I know I'm loved. I knew I was loved.
Good. Yeah.
I got to experience my sister's dog having to take her to the vet at 9 o'clock at night, and her getting healed and doing so quickly. And all the guilt and all that stuff all around this poor dog. She's a puppy, and
Yeah.
so it was actually kind of good because you know how it is, you get to reflect.
Yes. Yes, healing does give us an opportunity to reflect, doesn't it? And speaking of that, I had a doctor's appointment with a new doctor that listened and talked and shared, and it was just a great experience for me. Mm-hmm. Anybody else? All right. Well, I wanted to bring up Alyssa, let you think about what went well this week. Often we come together and we go, "How you doing?" "Oh, well, you just won't believe the week I've had." And if you want me to, I can go there. But it's not the truth. The truth is I've had a wonderful week. The truth is, if I focus on that is good, then I feel good. If I focus on that that's negative, what's going to happen? I'm going to end up feeling that negativity. So I wanted to just start by reminding us all that it has been a good week, that we are good, that we have that space within us that is that God energy of goodness and grace. So if we should forget, when we come here, we have the reminder. You're not coming here because there's something wrong with you and you're bad. You're coming here because there's something right with you and you're remembering. So I want to make sure that we remember. And with that remembering, and I was looking at some stuff this morning, I came across a little something about weddings. And most of y'all know that I love to do weddings. And it's like standing in a charmed circle of love to do a wedding. And so I read this and I just had to laugh. Because there was a little girl and she was at her very first wedding. And she said, "Oh, Mama, this is just wonderful. So why does the bride wear white?" The mother thought for a moment. And she said, "Well, because the bride is joyful and happy." And the little girl looked at her and said, "Then why is the groom wearing black?" Yeah. Sometimes we have a hard time remembering that sort of stuff, don't we? What we say to people, how we say it to people. So let's just take a moment again and think that there is something that has happened to you this day, this week, that is good. So in the beginning, there was creation, and God said it was good. And then, in that same Genesis, they go on, they start the story 3 times. And again, it was good. And the 3rd time, it was good. And we finally got over there to, okay, there's a problem here and we need to get it solved. Is that right? We all have to get in there and get solved. Our humanness is that we like to solve problems. But there was good, there was good, there was good. And yet our mind likes to wrap back around, see a problem, and let us see if we can solve it. But it was good. In the beginning, it was good. So let us remember that it is good. So I think this is wonderful that this is upside down and backwards. So let me just get in order here. So the Bible verse in Revelation says that let anyone who has an ear to listen to what the Spirit is saying to listen. To everyone I give you some hidden manna. We're going to get some hidden manna if we listen. And I will give you a white stone, and on that white stone is written a new name that no one has ever known before. So we're going to be looking at this today, that if we have ears to hear, if we are willing to begin anew, frequently the white stone ceremony is done at the beginning of the year or at the end of the year. You know, every day is the beginning of a new year. Every day is the beginning of a new life. So here we are at a time and a place that we can allow ourselves to come into newness, freshness, to hear with new ears, to see with new eyes. I love to talk about innocence. You know, innocence is that place that we see as if we've never seen before. And people go, well, no, you can't go back to innocence. Once you've had that experience, I disagree. I invite you today as you walk out of here to look around you with innocence, to look at the flowers with innocence. If you see a child, look at that child with innocence. Just see everything anew, as if you've never seen or even heard of it before. A story. There was a thief, and he was out in the diamond area of the country. And he was pretty excited because he had heard a rumor that a big diamond had been found and that the diamond broker was coming into town with this diamond to sell it. So he got pretty excited. He was pretty good at stealing things. So he said, well, I'm going to go steal this. It's going to take care of me. I'm going to be rich from this new diamond that's been found. And so he follows the diamond salesman all over town, looking for an opportunity to steal this diamond, knowing that he could and he would. All over town he goes looking for it. He follows them and follows them. After 3 days, he is so frustrated that he cannot get this diamond from this man. He finally just takes a deep breath and he goes up to the diamond salesman. He goes, "What is it that you've done with that diamond? I have not been able to steal it from you." And the diamond salesman kind of laughed and he went, "I felt certain you were here to steal that diamond, and I just thought that I would hide it in a place that you would never look. So I put it in your pocket." I put it in your pocket. So we have those places that we never look, right? And looking within ourselves can be one of the last places we decide to look in the midst of life when something's going on, right? But where is everything that we need? It's within us. Now, we may need some things here on the outside world to take care of, but our connection with the divine, our connection with each other, is right here in our hearts. And when we listen with ears that hear, when we listen in the quiet, listening in the quiet, things happen. Things begin to flow. Things begin to guide us that we are sometimes surprised about. Anybody in here ever been in meditation and had a problem and suddenly that problem was resolved because that answer came forth? It happens. So the treasure that we seek, that treasure that is the greatest thing that you can imagine, is within us. It is the core of our being. I used to say, what can I do to feel closer to you, God? What can I do outside to feel closer to you, God? But guess what? It wasn't outside. It was inside. It was in that place that I needed to be willing. To be willing. To be willing. So here we are at a new day, the beginning of a new time. And we have the opportunity to change those things that aren't working for us, to look at life anew, to find our quiet place and listen, to listen. We believe that the Bible is for each of us, that the Bible tells the story of our lives. And for some people, they find that a little challenging, especially with all that warring and stuff that goes on. But I invite you to think about the warring that you sometimes have. So yesterday I was working with someone very close to me, and it was very challenging. And I said the Serenity Prayer probably 100 times in the first 2 hours of the morning. Walked around the house. God grant me the serenity. I finally said, okay, let me write it. I don't seem to be getting it by saying it out loud. I'm going to write it. And I sat down and I wrote it several times. And then I got back up and I was doing some things. I was like, just let it go. So now I'm walking around going, let it go. And I grabbed a piece of paper and I went, let it go. And I walked away and I came back and I went, I had written, let it God. Let it God. Suddenly, all that I had been trying to figure out, I don't have anything to do here. Just let it God. We can do that every day, every moment, anew. We can let it God. You know, there's an expression, let go and let God. For me, it's let God and then let go. I don't know, I have to know that God's there, and God is there. God is always there. Even in those moments that we doubt. Even in those moments that we question, God is there. Sometimes we have to take a breath. Sometimes we have to do prayers. Sometimes we have to call people and talk to them and let them support us. But God's always, always within us if we just look within. So, if we believe that everything in the Bible is a story for us, we begin to grow spiritually, to become we travel a spiritual road that benefits us. And we have that place within that resonates with the stories and begins to mature. And that's called our second principle in unity. It's that principle that says that the essence of God is inherently good and that it's within us. It is that Christ presence. So I'll quickly go over our 5 principles just so we can remember those 5 principles that we study and work with. The first one is that there's only one presence and one power active in the universe and in me, and that is God, the good. And the second one is that same essence of God, that same essence lives in me. All I have to do is tap into it. And then the third one is that we are co-creators with God, creating our reality through our thoughts, through the thoughts that are held in mind. And that is really important. You see, it is not words themselves that have power. We talk a lot about, the power of manifestation and stuff. It's not the words that have the power. It's our thoughts. Words are symbols. But our thoughts are an energy. Our thoughts create. Our thoughts bring in manifestation. And it's important that when we are going down that rabbit hole of negative thoughts, that we come back up. We come up with a prayer. We come up with, there's so many things that can bring us up. So we use meditation to align our hearts with God. We use denials and affirmations. I deny the power of, and I embrace the power of this. I deny the power of negative thinking, and I embrace the power of loving God and being in alignment with God. So we have the ability to make change and to do it very quickly. So it is through our thoughts, our words, and our actions that we create. That we are here in this world walking with new beginnings each and every day. So we go back to everyone who conquers. For us, as followers of the Spirit, this is not an outer conflict, but an inner one that requires us to surrender. It requires us to surrender. Who in here likes to just say, okay, I surrender? Gosh, we can be a little hard about that, but we surrender and suddenly everything changes and smooths out and is soft and smells better. And I have some stinky flowers at my house right now, and it's like, whoa. But when we surrender, everything starts to smooth out. All that we have been challenging, trying to control, we realize we don't need to because we turn it over to God. So when Moses was wandering in the wilderness, he found a manna that was provided to him when he believed. A manna, but that manna could only be there for one day, and then there was new manna the next day. He couldn't hold on to that. Oh, don't we want to hold on to it? If we have something good, we want to hold on really tight. Oh, this is good, let me keep it. No. If you have, the most powerful thing that we can do for ourselves is to serve others, to serve, enjoy. Now, I always like to do a caveat to this because it's also important that we take care of ourselves. There are some people who serve so much that they forget. They forget that they need to rest, that they need to take care of themselves. But when we can serve others, we find ourselves with new beginnings. We find ourselves a new light. So again, yesterday, in my not so happy mood, I had somebody come over and he told me what he had gone through the last month. And it was horrific, from a brother-in-law being shot on the freeway by somebody who was getting initiated into a gang, and so he just shot somebody randomly. I mean, that to me is just, I can't wrap around it. So he tells me all this stuff that he's gone through, and I suddenly, just in listening to him, found everything that I'd been thinking about inconsequential. Everything mattered not, because this man had been through so much. And I could listen to him. I couldn't do a whole lot about what all had gone on, but I could listen. And I could tell that's what he needed. And sometimes that's what's required of us, is to listen. To let God, let go, and listen. It can challenge us, but it's there. And you know that you have it. You know that you have it. So Moses is wandering around, and he's trying to figure out how he's going to live. And he has to get past that place of his humanness to be willing to receive. He had to get past that place that he could be lifted to a higher consciousness. So when we have name changes, as there are many name changes in the Bible, what we are doing is lifting ourselves to a higher consciousness. I know that, and I'm sure this is true for you, when I was at Unity Village and people were going through school, people were always changing their names. It's like somebody you knew last week had a new name this week, right? It was so much fun to watch. But people were experiencing a change within themselves. Their hearts were changing. Their consciousness was changing. So their names changed. And I don't know if their names changed when they got home or not, but they're certainly changing up there. So when we strive to experience the kingdom of God first, we experience a consciousness change. And when we experience that consciousness change, we have that place within us that shifts. So I just realized I'm just going on and on about this. And I think it's time that we have white stone. So, Reverend Paula, would you be willing to pass out the white stones? Or everybody has them. Does everybody have a white stone?
Yeah.
And does everybody have a pencil? Yes? Okay. Yeah, but,
I do.
Okay, it's going to be a couple of seconds still. So, back in the day of Jesus, in the time of Jesus, when people were released from prison, they were given a white stone so that they could pass through life. So that people would know that they had served their time and that they'd gotten their white stone and they were out. And they were free. Oh, what would you like to be free of today? What would you like to let go of? What would you like to say, I have paid my dues. I don't have to go down that road anymore. Can you do that? Are you willing to do that? Yeah. And are you willing to go within and to listen? To listen. To see what is yours for this day. And when you listen for this name, it may be a quality, it may be a symbol, not even a word. And it may be a word. It may be a name. It can turn out in all kinds of ways. It's always kind of interesting to me. I'm never quite sure what's going to be. I think, okay, before I go in, I'm going to use this today. Never happens. I cannot plan, because when I listen, things are different than when I'm in my ego-driven mind. Anybody have an ego-driven mind? We have that, but we have so much more. This is the important piece. That's little. We have so much more. We have unlimited access when we become still and listen to God's word. Listening. In first Revelation, it says, let anyone who has an ear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. And the churches were those people whose thoughts had turned toward God. To everyone who conquers I will give some of the hidden manna. I will give you some of the hidden treasures. For me, that's peace. For me, that's about being in peace and harmony with the world. So we are going to go into a place and a time that we listen. So I invite you to breathe. To breathe, to become quiet, to allow your mind to relax, to allow your mind to let go. You may remember at this moment the goodness of your week. You may remember in this moment the glory of life. And that's good. And now, I invite you to release, let go, and listen. Just listen. In some cultures, they don't even name their child until they're a year old because they want to see the essence of who they are. And right now, we have the opportunity to go to the garden of the heart, to surrender to inner spirit, to find a new home. To recognize the power of the I am. The garden of the heart. It's a purified state of consciousness where we know that we are one with Spirit, with the beloved, with our elder brother Jesus the Christ. We let go of unnecessary baggage. And we use our denials and affirmations to cleanse, to clean up, to remove that's to be removed. Invite the activity of God to fill your heart. We listen and we feel that energy, that spirit that oozes from us. Just allow Spirit to pass through you, illuminating that place where you know that you know. You know that you know as you listen. You feel truth. You feel the activity of God bubbling up through you, healing your body, cleansing your mind. Just feel the Spirit and the energy of the Christ. Life is good. Life is good. And so as that name reveals itself to you through the power and the energy of the Christ, I invite you just to quietly say to yourself, I am, and your new name. I am. I am. I am in the flow of the one presence and the one power, that one being God, the good, omnipotent. Behold, the Christ of God is in every one of us. And it says, I make all things new this day. I make all things new. We are a clean slate, open to receiving. And with grateful hearts, we say thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Christ. Thank you, beloved Spirit. Father God, thank you. And as you become ready, I invite you to open your eyes and write your name on your stone. And now we are going to have some special music by our very special and wonderful musician.
Thank you. Well, my name is India Taylor, and for today's special music, I brought a song that I wrote, When I Claim Who I Am, because when I am considering a new name for myself, I might be claiming something that is rightfully mine. Whenever I think I'm scared and small, my hopes rebel within me, walking me through the walls along my way, learning how to navigate outside the world's illusions by the sense that is real to me, learning how to say small is not God's game, created endless, I know my name. When I claim who I am, Spirit says yes I can. There is peace anywhere I stand. When I claim who I am, who I am. Whenever two paths diverge for me, I now create a third one. A journey based on love and not on fear. It starts here. My spirit whispers, full-fledged dream, let go. You're bound by nothing. And this answer comes to me, good and true and clear. Fear is not my name, for I'm passionate, I'm aflame. When I claim who I am, Spirit says yes I can. There is peace anywhere I stand. When I claim who I am, I am the only one who can define the spark in me that comes from the divine. Spirit won't be tamed. I'm filled with courage, I am sustained. When I claim who I am, Spirit says yes I can. There is peace anywhere I stand. When I claim who I am, who I am.
Yeah, thank you. That's wonderful, thank you.
Thank you so much, India. We really appreciate your gift and your blessing. Thank you, Reverend Sondra. So we begin Lent with all the ritual of the white stone as we prepare ourselves mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to create a new energy within ourselves for that birth, that birthing of something wonderful, and releasing ourselves or freeing ourselves from something that may have been holding us back. And so we begin Lent with that idea or the thought process of acknowledging that Lent is about letting go of that which no longer serves us and welcoming that which brings us to a new awareness and a new sense of not only our own being, but our own wholeness. So for those of you who are with us online, we welcome you to sit for a moment, maybe with this meditation that we've just had, and write yourself your own name. And we welcome you to come online with us again. God bless you. Thank you for being with us.